Hello everyone, my name is Louis Ning Chan. Today video is going to be about watercolor painting palm tree, house tree. And we're working on a pencil stage right now, and as you see, I start with a palm tree and then draw these two houses. I actually restate them to start the drawing the house. And I work on my perspective. This house right you see here is done by a 2-point perspective. And that's the perspective I'm using right now. I do add the windows and the doors using the ruler. I use many rulers just to correct the perspective in this house. Right now I'm working on the other side of the house, adding more windows. Right now I'm working on the roof of the house. You notice the bottom of the house is attached to the palm trees, and as you know, this is a palm tree, house in a palm tree. Now work on another house on top of that one. The house, that perspective is 1-point perspective. So as I continue drawing the house, I draw its detailed features in the front of the house. Because the house in the bottom had like a 3/4 point of view of things, and this is the front of the house. It's more of a front of the house. I start to draw the windows and the doors, working on its design. Now remember, I always keep in mind that when I draw, I always press down on the pencil and eventually erase it on eventually. And I add the stairs and the palm trees, and the palm tree is really big in front of the houses compared to the houses. Real big tree. So I take another look at it real closely, and then I erase it. Now I erase the pencil lines. That way I could just paint all over it again, And that's what happens when you paint. You just press down on the pencil, erase it, and then when you look at it, you see called a pencil imprint. Now work on the watercolor stage right now, and the color I'm using right now is the light blue. That's a Cerulean blue, sky blue. That's the blue I'm using. Now for the clouds, I add many values of gray. It's a paint gray color. Mostly all the clouds cover almost all the sky, and that's where I decided to create this painting with many colors. I use many greens. As you see, I just start putting greens in the background, and these are greens that I use. Golden yellow with ultramarine blue, and another combination is canyon yellow with turquoise, lemon yellow with phthalo blue. The other choice of green was golden yellow and turquoise. And for the bark of the trees, I use a paint gray. When I use grays, it's light or many value in terms of many values. A light value, medium value, and a dark value. I don't go too dark on the values on the grays because I don't want it to be too powerful on the painting. So as you see that I start using the greens on the palm trees. When I paint, I use cool colors, and the value is much lighter than the foreground, but backgrounds most colors the backgrounds are much lighter than in terms of values of is much lighter than the foreground values. And you do use a lot of warm colors in the foreground because it'll stand out more. And you see, when I finish this painting, you will see the difference. As you notice, I get a little bit darker on the values and start adding shadow to the painting. Now this, since it's a watercolor painting, I really don't use a darker value. It's the third, probably like first value the lighter one, second value is the medium value, and second value is the third one is the third one. But I use the pen ink to make the third dark value with a pen ink, using many of different techniques, cross-hatching, scribbling, etc. At the moment right now, I start using painting the house on the top. The purple house I'm using, the purple light purple, is a combination of crimson and Persian blue. And the green, the house has the green. It's candy yellow, and turquoise. Okay, I start the painting in the house in orange. The orange I used is actually a golden yellow and crimson to make the orange. I'm making it the orange, add more yellow into it to make it more of a warmer orange. As you see that I start using a little bit darker orange, but simply I add more of let's say the red, so it'll actually stand out a little bit. But I did use the orange shadow, add a little bit blue. Now as for the yellow, most likely it's a lemon yellow, just strictly out too. Then they didn't do any mixing on it though. But then again, do use a purple, and any dark shadows on the yellow will be done adding a little bit yellow, a little purple on the yellow to get some shadow. I add the blue, both green, blue, and crimson. It'll be like a warmer blue. Okay. So I use argan yellow and be like, since the sand is kind of yellowish color, I use aqua yellow for the ground. And for the little shadows on the back of the landscape, on the shadows, I add a little bit on purple and a little coming a little bit green here and there. Right now we're working on the inking stage right now, and this is the last part of the painting I do. And I start when I ink, I use India black ink.